Hello and welcome to episode 9 of Let's Play Civilization 3 Play the World, the Colonization map. Now as you can see, a lot of the nations in the world have already reached the industrial ages. Specifically, France, Germany, and China are the ones leading the world in technology. And what I believe happens is that the three of them keep researching technologies and selling them to each other and trading to get ahead of everyone else. It's definitely a threat, and definitely something we have to watch out for. Alright, see that source of iron there? That's where I want to send that ship. Because it's not just about me having multiple sources of iron, it's also about depriving other nations their chance to have a source of iron. By the way, I decided to do this video in real time, so compare this one to the last one and tell me, does this go by too slowly, or does this give you more time to absorb everything that's going on and is therefore better? I'm open to doing it either way, mix and match, whatever. But anyway, our city's under attack, but we've managed to hold them off. And, well, the Bowman survives for that day. Yeah, we'll build a bank in Uruk. After all, our empire needs money to keep functioning, so it's good to build marketplaces and banks. And what do you know? We get to expand the palace. You know how much I love to expand the palace. There's really nothing wrong with it at all. So, after the loading screen takes its merry old time to load, we will put another piece onto this desert palace, which is in the middle of the jungle. Now Newton's University has been created in Berlin. Did you know that Newton was German? I didn't know that either. Guess you learn something new every day. Well, if the French sailed around the world first, I suppose the Germans could have Newton. Makes as much sense as the pyramids being in Japan, I guess. But anyway, I'm making an embassy with the Ottomans. Yes, I'm embarking on a policy to make an embassy in all the other countries, one by one, from most powerful to least powerful, generally speaking. So that way, eventually, I'll know what goes on completely. I'll have complete knowledge of whenever anyone declares war, makes a treaty, or forms a peace treaty. So you fortify up there because you're going to be set to attack soon. Alright, it's going to take that city, Zarkum, or whatever it's called, a long time to become productive. So we will just let it go. Alright, French want to talk to us. There's no reason not to talk to the French. They're technologically advanced. They might be able to sell us something. Well, it turns out free artistry is pretty much useless now because the only thing it's good for is making Shakespeare's theater. And since that's already made, they're willing to sell it to us for 10 gold. And we might as well buy it because, well, just to have it, I guess. Because otherwise people will keep bothering us to sell it anyway, forever and ever. And you can't really trade it for anything either. So as you can see, the Greeks are moving their ships, and wait a minute, we're under attack. Ah, crap, here we go. Our barbarians are really kicking our butts, but we did manage to stop that galley. Alright. And I apologize for the lag. For some reason it's worse today than usual. But oh well. I'll see if I can fix that. Anyway, even the English are starting to edge on ahead of us. And the Japanese remain extremely behind us. So, I guess there's not too much we can do with that. Spanish are also very much behind us. And the Russians, I think they're also behind us. It's pretty good to know where everyone stands. Yeah, despite the Russians being one of the 3 countries I thought was most likely to become the world power, they've become pretty useless. Mostly because of that beating they got by the Germans and the Koreans at the same time. Now it seems like the Germans and the French, and the Chinese as it turns out, are all doing pretty well. But you never know, the tide might turn. A country that is now behind might move ahead. Alright, so we have a few new settlers ready, so we're going to move them on down to Nineveh, or whatever it's called, to help the settlement effort. Alright, and you can just explore. Oh, look what we found. A barbarian encampment. Well, we might finally be able to uproot some of these guys. Izeba, I guess, is the name of this new city. Now we don't even have to build an aqueduct here because it's bordering an inland lake, which has the same purpose, or the same function, I mean, as a river and giving it a fresh water supply. It also gives more food than the coast would otherwise do. Alright. Man, those Chinese are really going out there with their caravels. But don't worry, we have many more, and we're settling at a much faster rate. In fact, the last time I checked, we actually have the #1 land area already, just because of our colonies. Granted, most of the land area, as you can see, is undeveloped, so it doesn't mean that much yet. But at least we have the foundations laid. And as far as I know, no other country has put down a colony on this continent we discovered. Because, as you probably would imagine, that continent down there in the south is separate from the one in the west. You can't really tell, but if you've seen the map in my editor demo, you've seen it. Oh, what's this? Oh my, we've lost our wines. How will we live without fine Chinese wines? Well, it turns out it's not too hard to get those wines again, we just have to pay a little bit more. But I also want to throw in some world maps, so I have to sweeten up the deal a bit. Which I really have no problem doing. And, well, it turns out we find out the English have settled the city to the west of the Spanish first city. And also, you see up top where you see those 2 dots, the one we know about, the German city on that island? Well, to the west of that is a Russian city. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the Russians are getting on to the settlement thing as well. And that westernmost city on that little patch of explored land amongst all the blackness, that is a Korean city. So pretty much everyone is getting in on the colonization game. I think about half of the world's countries have at least one colony somewhere. Also, one thing about colonies, in addition to being more territory and chances to get resources, they are also a kind of survival insurance for your civilization, because it's much harder to destroy a country that has colonies far-flung around the world. Because, let's say Germany invades Russia and manages to take it over. It's going to have a lot of hard time tracking down that little colony and any other little colonies the Russians might form. So therefore, the Russians will survive longer. Now, I'm not sure it's such a great survival because they're going to pretty much be on the fringes of the world, but it is survival. And it does make the game more interesting when there's more civilizations. Alright, now we can get the Koreans to pay us a pretty good sum. Yes, the continent on the west there is the biggest continent, and we want to get in on that as soon as we can. Because although the southern continent is pretty large, we want a good foothold on the largest continent. Alright, we're very, very close to being able to connect that source of iron, and thereby having iron across our empire, including in our old world mainland. It's a wonderful thing. Well, officially we do have it now. The harbor has been built. So we'll have to upload our units. See, there's the Russian city I was talking about, and the Korean city. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I will see you again for episode 10.